Welcome to my plant-based what I eat in a week. So we're gonna get started with a smoothie and some grapes. I typically start eating around 12 each day, and I'll have like a handful of grapes and then a smoothie as well. I just made my sister a smoothie, so that's why I'm starting out with this already used and not washed smoothie blender. And I always lost strawberry. I always put strawberries in first, and then I put in my greens blends. I get them from, where do I get them from? Whole Foods. I put in that, and I put in spinach or kale, or maybe both, depending on the type of day. Spinach definitely makes you, it just makes you go. So I don't always try to use spinach because I have no issue in that department. But most of the time I'll use like kale. And then I use my turmeric and glucose. I don't even know how to, but I put that in there. It's not a powder, it's little tablets, so I have to take them out and I put them in there, and then I blend it up, and I have my smoothie. And then for dinner, depending on how early I get done with my work, so I work remotely. I don't typically go in the office unless it's like a lunch and learn or a connectivity event happening at the office. So most of the time I am at home working remotely, so I'm able to cook. And so if I'm done with everything by like 5:36, then I will cook. I'll put on dinner. And today we're going to have potatoes, asparagus, cauliflower, and some rice. I do typically eat a lot of starch in my diet, I'm not gonna lie. I'm not a starch-free person. I'm heavy on the carbs. So I'll wash off my potatoes and then, put them in a heavily used pan and put some foil over them, put them in the oven at around 465 for an hour and 20 minutes, hour and 30 minutes. And then I'll prep up my asparagus and my cauliflower, but I don't typically put them in, at the same time as potatoes because they don't take as long. I'll put on some olive oil on the asparagus and the cauliflower just as a base, a coating. This is not an oil-free, dinner. I will say that. All of them are not oil-free except for like the smoothie and the snack. But I typically use a lot of oil to coat, my vegetables, and garlic powder. So this is a really good, if you are just like a beginner in cooking in the kitchen, I am your girl. Like, I'm not gonna be like fake. I did not spend that much time in the kitchen with my grandmother just learning her recipes, and on top of that, my grandmother is not plant-based, so so I just kind of just do what I feel. And I wasn't good at chemistry. I feel like the best cooks are people who were good at chemistry or were studying their grandmothers and their mothers. My mother was not in the kitchen cooking, so couldn't study under her, had to be my grandmother. But I was not in the kitchen just learning their tricks and what to do and not to do and stuff like that. But I think something within me, the ancestors, they always guide me. And so I just kind of do like what I feel. I use the spices that I like. I use the seasonings that I like, the herbs, all of that. And I just go for it. I really experiment with like 90% of my cooking. Especially since I've been plant-based. So I've been plant-based for about, I want to say like 3 years. It's been a while. So everything has been just learning, going as I learn. And so I'm doing the same thing I did with the cauliflower to doing the same thing to the cauliflower that I did with the asparagus, just putting on my my hearty ground pepper, my garlic powder, my cayenne pepper, and then just massaging it on there and putting it in the oven the same amount of time as the asparagus. So I put them in the oven at about 465 for 30 to 35 minutes. And I leave them in there. And these are really, really, really like simple meals. If you want to take anything for the road, these are just simple meals. Heavy in starch, but also heavy in vegetable, because we do vegetables over here. And so now I'm just putting on my rice in the rice cooker. I love a rice cooker. If you don't have a rice cooker, now rice cookers they make your life like 50% easier, because it's just something you don't have to do. But I always use the rice cooker. I utilize this thing heavily. So here I am just cutting up 2 on the vine tomatoes and seasoning them to perfection. One thing I don't think I knew growing up is to season your vegetables. Like, go ahead, give them love just like meat. They need to be seasoned as well, to just complement their flavor. So now we're going to get started with the potatoes. So I make my potatoes a couple of different ways. This first way that I'm going to show is I usually, for all of the ways, I keep the majority of the skin of the tomatoes on there because, the skin is a great healthy source of just all things. I'm not going to go through them. And honestly, once you whether you're pan frying them or you're mashing them, it does not take away from any other flavors. It's good. It's not tough because you put it in the oven. It's baked. It's ready to be eaten. It's edible. It's healthy. It's really good. So I typically keep majority of the skin of the potato on there and just mash it up or pan fry it with the potato itself. I just use all the things. I try to use majority of the things I cook, because I don't like to be wasteful, People, would love this food, so I don't like to intentionally eat majority of the food that I cook, and the skin is the part of the food that I'm cooking here. So, when we get to the end here, I'll definitely keep majority of the skin on there, and just mash it up. Because it's a nice surprise too. It's a delightful surprise. It's really good. So if you haven't tried mashing a potato with potato skins in there, then you really should try it. Just try it once, and I promise you will not you really won't see the difference. Either you won't see the difference at all, or you will accept the difference that it makes. So I'm just going to put on some Earth Balance spread on top of the potatoes and start mashing them up. Just mash them. It's really just, it's all about the wrist here. It's all about that wrist. Just use it, flick it, go ahead. Just keep mashing. So at this point, when everything is mashed, you can go ahead and put in your almond milk. But for this particular batch, I didn't want to put in almond milk. Sometimes I don't like my mashed potatoes too milky. This is more of like a baked potato mashed, really. So I'm just using my salt and pepper. And here we are with the finish. I didn't even get the whole thing. This is really just, I was so hungry. So day 2, we have another, smoothie. Now, today I used my probiotic prunes, and sometimes I put them in there for a nice little delightful surprise and blend up the smoothie. So day 2 is really like day 1. I'm eating my asparagus again and doing the same exact thing, nothing different with the asparagus. I never change up the way I make asparagus. I probably should just experiment again and see if there's a better way, but I love the way that I make asparagus, so it tends to stay the same. And then today we're also going to have tofu. Now, tofu is an excellent source of protein. It's not something just for plant-based people. So if you haven't really just cooked with tofu before, I really encourage you to try it. It's delicious. It takes, just like most meats, it takes the flavor of whatever it is. You are utilizing it with like seasonings or maybe peppers. It really does take in that flavor. So here I'm just coating the tofu with flour because I'm going to just make fried tofu cubes, well, pan fried. I'm not really fried because I'm not using a lot of oil. And so I'm just, flicking that wrist again and just putting in my seasonings and coating the tofu bites. If you haven't noticed by now, I use the same 3 tried and true seasonings. It's the garlic powder, the ground pepper, cayenne pepper, and then in seasoning salt if you want to count that. But yeah, I use all those in rotation. I never really switch up because I just love the flavor those 3 give. Sometimes if I'm being extra, then I'll put in other seasonings. But for the most part, it's really those 3/4 seasonings. So after you're done coating your tofu cubes, you wanna prep your cooking pan whenever you cook them in. I always fry my onions because I don't really like the texture of onions, so I always fry them. But then after that, I'll take out, eliminate the oil and then put my cubes on there and let them get pan fried. Now, I did make another tofu dish for another video, the tofu taco video I'm going to make. I don't know if it's going to be strictly tofu taco, but it's going to be another video, and that's going to be in there. So stay tuned for that. And then today, I decided to do just cubed oven roasted potatoes instead of doing the mash. So it's the same exact process, except when they are done, I will dice them up and make them into little cube bites. So that was good. I put the same seasonings on because the tried and true are just tried and true. So yeah, this is the tofu taco stuff that I made. And yeah, so the pan frying of the tofu is done, and I'm gonna plate them, and I'm gonna show you. This time I wasn't greedy and just ate everything before I could just show it off. I plated it, and I'm giving it a little just camera time, giving it a little camera shot. Tofu taco were bomb. These are always, I use them on so much stuff. Creamy garlic, and then the Serrano condiment. I get both of them from H-E-B and Whole Foods typically has the creamy garlic. The Serrano is typically held by H-E-B. Yeah, this was my plate this day. It was so good. It was so good. So here we are on day 3 with another green smoothie. I always eat these, will drink them throughout the day because I can go to sleep just eating anything. So I always try to eat light during the day, which is basically grapes in a smoothie, so that I don't fall asleep. And so now we're just prepping the asparagus. I eat a lot of asparagus, and with inflation, asparagus is very expensive, but it is my main source of just it is my meat. I mean, it's the star of every dish I make, so I have to buy asparagus. But yeah, definitely with the inflation, it's getting up there. I think it's $3.86 at my H-E-B for a bunch, which is very expensive because I remember when it was $1.98. So yeah. So of course I had to do my cauliflower, and this particular day I started cooking late, so I wanted to dice everything up a little bit smaller so it cooked faster. So that's why I diced up the asparagus smaller than I normally would, because I think I started cooking at like 7, and everything cooks fast that I make, but I'm typically used to eating by like 6:30, and I think I started this day at 7, so I didn't eat until like 8. So yeah, I made sure to dice everything up so it could get baked faster and throughout. If that makes sense. If you missed it before, 465 for about 30 to 35, 40 if I'm feeling a little crazy, minutes in the oven. And yeah, just bake that baby. I also had a tofu patty this day, and you're seeing a tofu fail. I don't know why I always act like I can't. Like you could just open a tofu package like normal. But yeah, I'm making a tofu patty, and this will also be on my tofu video. But dicing up some onions to have as well with them. And so I'm going to do the same thing I did with like the tofu cubes, but now doing this as a tofu patty. Now tofu, get into it, girl. If you are not into tofu yet, you need to just come on now, try it. Tofu is just like raw meat. You need to season it up and cook it. I mean, it's better than raw meat because it's low calorie and you actually don't have to cook it to eat it. But yeah, if you're like me, you gonna cook it. I eat raw tofu. I'm not gonna lie. Well, I call it raw tofu. Like if I go to Jenya, I will eat the tofu cubes and they're not cooked, so I'll eat them. But if I'm at home, I gotta cook it. But yeah, you see it getting crisp there. Oh my god, it looks so good, right? Yeah. I ate this whole thing up. All of it, even the onions. It was so good. So just pan fried on each side. I think I pan fried each side for about, I want to say 4 minutes each side, and it was good to go. Ready to go. So on this day, I made the mashed potatoes kind of like you would make normal mashed potatoes. So I put almond milk in there. All the skin is in there though. I don't believe in like making mashed potatoes without the skin. Like just don't do that. Like use the skin, use majority of it at least, like I do. So yeah, you will see at the end, I got super lazy and just kind of like plopped all the potatoes in the bowl and just started mashing. Also, if you are feeling like having like cheesy potatoes, I use vegan cheese sometimes. I'm forgetting the brands that I use, but if I remember them, of course I'll put them down there. And then bacon bits. There are some bacon bits that are just vegan because they're soy. They're made of soy and wheat, which is a lot of things. The case for a lot of things. It's made of soy and wheat. And it's not, made with milk products like you would think, or made with, dairy like you would think, or eggs. Milk is dairy, so I don't know why I said that. But made with eggs like you would think. It's just soy. Particularly like with bacon bits, you think they would be made with bacon, but it's just an imitation, and it's good. But this week I wasn't really feeling like that because, as you're gonna see as we go throughout the video, I do eat like what do you call it? Why am I like the junk food vegan stuff? I do eat that while like towards the end of the week. I don't know why I was just so jumbled up there, but towards the end of the week, I will eat like the vegan trashy food, and then I'll reset like during the week. But I try not to just intertwine my healthy foods with my vegan hearty foods. With my vegan junk foods. Like I keep them separate, so I have like specific days that I'm okay with having the junk food, and specific days where I just want to keep it pretty clean. And I say pretty clean because I've realized I use a lot of oil in my stuff, and I do cut back. This is not that week though. Yeah. mashed potato heaven coming to you from my kitchen. This is such a good meal. I just definitely eating this again next week. Such a good meal. Actually, I might eat this today because I think I have everything for that because I, stay stocked up. But yeah, such a good meal. So here we are. This is we're on day 4 now. So green smoothie again. And then at night when I got home, I ate so bad. So this is what I'm talking about. I went to work this day, and so I wanted a quick meal. I got home pretty late, and I just wanted to put on a quick meal. And so I had the Beyond sausage, and then the Beyond sausage, and I'll link the other one. I always forget the name, but have both of them. The just egg going. What? Flicking my wrist. Try to make it healthy. I sprinkled in, ever so slightly, the spinach, and I would not do that again. Just egg. I didn't realize it, like most vegan things, takes the flavor of whatever you make it with, and honestly spinach is very overpowering, so I would not do spinach again. I tasted nothing but spinach, which was very interesting because I put like 3 things, like 3 little leaves of spinach, but it tasted like spinach. So that was crazy. But yeah, it was good though. It was just like I didn't want to be healthy. Like I was at the office all day. I deserve to not do that, not be healthy when I get back home. But yeah, just flicking my wrist here, making the just egg. Just egg takes like, I want to say it doesn't take long to cook. I probably was cooking this for like all of 5 minutes. Like it was really fast. So these are the reheated potatoes from day 2. Like I said, I try to utilize like all of what I cook throughout the week. If I have leftovers, which is not often, I will use them over again if I do. So just reheated them with some oil and then put them in the castor oil. Why did I say cast out oil? Cast iron pan with some cheese. See, I got the vegan cheese. I think it's the Vlog cheese. And yeah, this is the finished product. It was so good. It was so good. So this is day 5. I definitely had my smoothie. I just did not show it. So at dinner, I had these light chicken wings. DJ Khaled carries these for his little pop-up wing thing that he does. They're really good. The texture is so crazy. Like it mimics chicken. And so yeah, you can eat the whole thing though. It looks like a drum, but it's not. But yeah, this is my last frame. Thank you for watching. If you made it to the end, thank you, and I'll see y'all next time. Like, comment, and subscribe. I'll see y'all next time.